We have one goal: to interview the best in sports, to meet the biggest names and find out what makes them tick, and the St. Louis athletes who move the needle with their compelling story. I'm Frank Cusumano, and this is Sports Plus.
Gets hammered by Tony Twist.
I'm not fighting just to throw my gloves around and play patty cake. I'm fighting because, it's a fight. I want to hurt the guy.
26 seconds into the game, Stu Grimson and Kelly Chase.
I said, well, you know how I play, so if we're going to fight, let's get her going.
Good evening and welcome to a unique Sports Plus tonight. They have a combined 27 goals in their NHL careers, but there's no doubt Kelly Chase and Tony Twist were two of the most popular players in Blues history. So for tonight's main event, literally, it is Kelly Chase and Tony Twist. Men, good to be with you. And it's the first time you guys have been on the air together in a long time, right?
Well, here, I guess.
23 years, I guess, probably or 20 years anyway, since we were on the air together.
How about popularity? Even though Scott Young may have had a 40-goal season, people in St. Louis don't remember Scott Young. They all remember you, our security guard, asking for autographs and pictures. And it's still like this years later. What is that like?
Well, it's pretty cool, to be honest with you. I get called Tony twice a day. My answer always is, he's the other guy. I had it happen today at our dispensary. The guy's like, hey, Tony, how are you? I said, he's the other guy. He goes, and he gets all rattled. But no, I feel pretty fortunate that we got to be not very good players, but pretty effective at what we did and still be treated as well as we are in St. Louis.
I'd have to say it's a testament to what we've done over the course of. We've obviously done great things in the community, and over the course of time, we appreciate it. If this is a town you really got to do some terrible things as a sports athlete not to be admired. If you're staying here, you really got to dump on somebody. So if you just participate with enthusiasm, the fans are incredible.
All right, let's do a little This Is Your Life. I want to go back to Saskatoon, the Blades. You're 17, you're 16, you see each other, I think, for the first time. How about first impression when you run into Kelly Chase? What was that like?
We were at the bar at Esmeralda's.
That's actually where we were.
I know.
You were 16, though.
Yeah, well, we were going to be legal.
Well, the drinking age is 18.
Yeah.
Not far off.
So we were legal for that time. First impressions, you know what? I was still getting my feet wet going from junior tier 2 to junior tier 1. So
there you are.
At the end of the day, the impressions were made after when you got to meet everybody.
Yeah, it was one of those things too where you seen this guy and we had known about Tony. We had traded for him. He was with Seattle, and I remember seeing him and going, "Well, we got another guy on our team that we know is in the character in the realm of what we believe in as far as a team." And we were supposed to be in 8th place, and we ended up, I think we went like 3rd, 2nd, and 1st the 3 years we were there, and They told us our team was more like a work release program than it was a hockey
team.
And
let me capitalize on that. So the rookie party, I had the opportunity to be treated as the rookie as the hazing went, and Chaser got the opportunity to go step into the general manager's office, because the day after, my eye is completely black because I ended up in a fight. So and my hands were all tore up, and he had to go to the GM's office to sell me, and to give reasons of why that happened.
It wasn't his fault. I said that a lot as we grew up. It wasn't his fault.
Then on to Peoria, where you play together, and you have one of the most unique seasons in professional hockey history: 20 goals and 400 penalty minutes. How do you remember that?
I'm going to tell you how I remember it. Bobby Plager told me, "Don't whine because you're down here. Lots of good players are down here, and you're going to play with David Bruise and Nelson Emerson. And Emerson won Rookie of the Year, and Bruce won MVP." So it was pretty simple. You chipped the puck to Nelson, met them down at the other. There was a sequence at one point where a guy ran at Nelson Emerson. I dropped my gloves one after the guy, but I had time to put my gloves back on because the guy wouldn't fight me, and then tap the puck in at the side of the net because he made a pass. So, yeah, that was a lot of fun. That team was great, and you know, we just had, matter of fact, Twister had a big play. And you talked about that. There was a winning streak of 18 games, which was the record for years until Coop shattered it with the Norfolk Admirals. But we were down in a game by like 4 goals, and the streak was going to end, and we weren't going to get the record. And he was playing, they had moved him to left wing from defense. And I think you were playing with Ricky Peon maybe. And
how in the frick do you remember this stuff? No, seriously.
What happened was,
and you're starting to think I have brain injuries here.
Guys were so scared of him, they just let him go in and get the puck. He made a centering pass. We win the game in overtime, 7-6.
How do you remember that?
I just remember it.
Holy
and I'm telling you, I laughed so hard because when you watch the tape now, and it's on that dream season that Bobby Plager had put together, the funniest thing about it is he literally he dumped it in the corner. 2 guys could get there before him, and they were both. It was just like the parting of the sea. Now he can have it. They figured he wasn't going to do anything with it, and he did.
Chaser, I don't know. You remember everything. I don't know how the frick you do it.
We're almost late for a break, but I got to ask you. You fought Berube 3 times. You fought him 4 times. Give me 20 seconds on what that was like fighting Berube.
It was a great opportunity. First time we fought was in Philly. Next time was in St. Louis. Chief was the guy for Philly. Think about the old time Broad Streets. He was holding that role. It was awesome.
I fought him in junior, and the first time I fought him, I whacked him pretty good in the back of the legs and said, "We're going to go at the face-off." He didn't even flinch. He turned and looked at me and said, "You think you're ready?" And I was like, "I don't know."
Well, you were ready one Saturday night when you guys fought. We'll take a break. We're going to come back and talk about the famous fight between Kelly Chase and Tony Twist right after this.
Oh, and Kelly hits Twist with a right to the...
Less than a minute into the hockey game, Cummins and Chase, and it's everybody back up, boys, and let them get to it.
Who goes down, gets up, Twist hammers him down. Twist is too much for Stoyanov.
We continue our Cardinal Buick GMC conversation with Tony Twist and Kelly Chase. Best single fight, a lot of people can never forget you and Rob Ray. Rob Ray was a bad man, and you took care of him that night in 1995. We have video. What'd you think?
It was, well, here's the story, real quick in the Reader's Digest. Pizza's the equipment coach. The day before, he fought Francois Leroux. And I, all through my career with Quebec, Razor wouldn't fight me. So Pizza comes in with a practice ring, he goes, "He's ready for you." And I go, "Ready for what?" "To fight you. Fought Leroux last night, he's in the game." I said, "I bet you $20 I knock him out." He goes, "You're on." We line up, and Razor wants to fight me. The first time ever. He ends up with one of those, and in the penalty box, he looks over, and he goes, "Twister, can I still ride on your ride?" I go, "Absolutely." He sneezes. His face falls.
Yeah.
And he looks over, he goes, "Is it bad?" I go, "Oh, you got to get out of here, next whistle."
His face fell.
And then after the game, Pizza comes running in. He goes, "Twister, you can't say anything to anybody. We made this bet. Here's your $20." I said, "Keep it. Don't fire me." And I said, "Never said anything." 11 years later, we're on a sports show in Toronto, and Razor and I talked about it.
Wow. Best fight for you, a lot of people think, is Francois Leroux, 6'6", 250. You're 6 feet, 190, and you took care of him. We got video of that.
Well, that was a little different spiel, and it was more. There's a joke in the league called the race for Chase, because nobody really wanted to fight with Tony. And he felt pretty good about himself this night because Twister wasn't playing. Mark Crawford had sent him out to fight. And I was obviously nervous. You got a guy that big. And it was an ESPN game, and I got the better of him. And this is when I love when people say
2
to me,
feet taller than you.
the people say to me, "You'd never hit a guy when he was down." I'm like, damn right I would, and I did there.
Yeah.
I clocked him pretty good. He never played another game in the NHL, to be honest with you.
Is that right?
But you can hear, if the volume on that fight on YouTube or whatever, you can hear Mark Crawford, who was the coach at the time, yelling at me, try him, and then yelling, "That's a beating, that's a beating," at the start of the fight. And at the end of the fight, when I'm turned looking at their bench yapping, I'm yapping at him. Because I could hear him at the face-off. It was right by their bench. And I'm thinking, Mark Crawford's doing this, eh? I watched him play. He has no business telling me to fight because he was a chicken, you know what.
That's awesome.
All right, the fight between you two, March 9th, 1996. How do you remember it? he was running around with Hartford, and Mike Keenan put you on the ice.
You know what? It's a great piece for the fans, but really, it's just business as usual. For us, it was, Chaser had a job to do that night. I had a job to do that night, and we both did the job. And I promise you this, we went out for beers and drinks and food at Harry's that night. We never talked about it.
Jerry Clinton was more worried about it than we were.
He was.
He called me out in the locker room. You get out here and you guys shake hands. And I'm like, Jerry, you don't have to worry about us. He's living in my house. The rent's going up $2,000. And I don't worry about it. But Twister had actually hurt Mark Jansen earlier. And I had been in Hartford. I came back and I said to him, he said something about, you better stop. I was running around at Murray Barron because he had run at Jansen, and it wasn't my intention to fight with my friend, obviously. But then when he come over, he said, Keenan's, barking. I said, well, do you just want to get it over with? And he goes, are you serious? And then he gave me a little shot, and I said, let's just go and get it over with. And I ended up having to go and get my finger. They didn't do a very good job of fixed, and came back in the game, and then we went out and had a couple beer that night, and I left the rent the same. I loved his kids.
So Pavel Demitra said when he played with you two, that was the easiest part of his hockey career because nobody touched him and he could skate. How about the impact when you guys were at your zenith about what you did for players like Demitra?
We gave everybody a great wide berth to play. But both of us we had both ends of the spectrum covered. Meaning, if there's somebody, for me to go after somebody who was in between, it looks kind of, doesn't look right. Chaser's always taking care of that. Somebody steps out of class. Chaser was fighting guys that were 3 and 4 times his size and doing freaking well at it. So there was 2 of us that could do the business on both ends, and it was intimidating. Al McGinnis had said it well. You'd rather have a pair of us as grocery sticks sitting between the defense and the forwards as a cutout than the extra man, because they gave everybody a second to play.
You know what's funny about that? It's one of the prouder things that I've heard, and you hear Brett say it all the time about I never would have been the same player if I didn't have those guys. But when Pavel said it, he had moved on and played for a team that didn't have that and noticed the difference. And listen, right now in the league, it's a commodity. I mean, because it's all hugs and kisses now, and I'm not knocking the league because there's an evolution of it. I'm really not. But you see the Zegras kid in Minnesota or in Anaheim. Everyone in the league wants him to get slapped in the mouth, including probably his GM, who I played with. They've had enough of him. He's got a big mouth, and you're allowed to go around and acting like an ass, and you get away with it. We would have straightened guys like that out, because Mike Leclerc played in Anaheim, and he pushed on the back of Al McInnes's legs one time and hurt him. We set up shop at the red line and threatened that kid the entire warm-up, and then he was so scared. And then I ended up having a fight with him after, and I said, we're not done. And Twister went over to the bench and said, you're getting me next. This kid just wanted out of the game. I mean, I don't know how bad we beat Anaheim that night, but it was like, and no one ran at Al McInnes, but the whole league knew not to do that after that. It wasn't like, his presence alone is one thing. You could say whatever you want. When you go out and activate it, it made a huge impact. It's a commodity now. You get a tough guy in a game right now that can play a little bit. Everybody you telling me nobody wants the Wilson kid in Washington? Yeah. The whole league wants him.
A tough guy that can play.
Him. Right. Yeah. You can pretend to hate him. You all want him. He's a game changer.
We got a break. When we come back, we're going to find out what these 2 guys are doing with their lives right now. Sports Plus continues right after this.
The puck never enters Mr. Twist's mind. It's out there somewhere, someone told him.
Now intercepting, moving in alone, and Chase scores! Kelly Chase!
We continue with our spotlight story, A Night at the Fights. You liked seeing that goal, didn't you?
Few and far between. Believe me, I remember them all.
All right, what are you guys doing with your lives now? You're in an interesting business right now, and it's a huge weekend for that business.
It is a huge weekend, yeah. I got into the medical marijuana business about 7 years ago. I'd previously had the brain lesion, and I had been to the Mayo Clinic, and I'd also seen some testing done with both CBD and THC on everybody from kids with epilepsy to military with PTSD. And I was there, interestingly enough, when I was talking to a military guy that had found a strain for medical marijuana. They mix CBD and THC that had the guys not remembering their nightmares. And the spouse was telling me how important it was. And so we have a facility in Vienna, Missouri that makes with cultivation facility. We have a manufacturing out there. And then we have a dispensary in Chesterfield called Hippos, and one in Springfield, and one down in Columbia. So it's an interesting business, but with all of our athletes that we see that have gone through that whole post-Oxycontin, Vicodin, you see so many guys suffering from stuff that it was a great alternative, and it was something I wanted to look into. And again, I never did drugs at all when I played, never once. There were two reasons. One, you weren't supposed to, and if you got caught, you were in trouble, and they would kick me out of the league. And secondly, I'd like them, and I knew what my threshold was, and I just never ever did it. And then it became something where I just learned more and more about and found some reasons that it became healthy for people. And the other thing is too, with the governance. It's tested all the time. Every plant's labeled. I know there's a lot of people that aren't in there, but if you have an alternative and it's tested and the compliances that we have to go through now, I'm a heck of a lot more comfortable than if somebody's trying to buy something on the street and who knows what they're putting in it now.
Yours is different though. You guys have the same recipe, getting it from the same spot. Consistent, so you're always going to have it in stock. That's what's different than what when I was doing. My girlfriend engages in that, and then the same can't sleep, and the consistency of the product. That's what we ended up going there. So you're going to go see Chase over there because it's always in stock because you're doing it.
Well, it does keep you consistent.
Yeah, we got about 30 seconds left. Tell our listening audience what you're doing with your life.
I got a windshield repair and replacement company doing fleet management. And that's, I got my son working for me. Christian does a heck of a job. He's taking off a big load for myself, and we're doing great. I got a couple other employees, and Cisco and Cody, and myself, and we're knocking it out. It's been fun.
Guys, honored to have you in. Thanks so much. Really appreciate it.
Great being here with him, man. It's great being here with you, Frank, because you've been around for the whole ride too.
Yeah.
Frank, you haven't aged at all.
No, feel very old. Guys, we appreciate it.
We're going to wrestle with you in a minute, see how tough you
We
still are.
want to just stand up and pretend like you're going to fight one more time.
No.
Well, you're going to get us standing up on camera?
Yeah.
That's going to everybody's going to know how old we are. We're not going to do the standing up on camera. Come on now.
We'll take a break. We'll be right back. Hey, we have another local college basketball team doing well. The Washington U Bears hosted Emory today. Here's some great passing and an almost elegant dunk. Not a slam dunk, but an elegant one by Drake Kinsvader. Later, it's going to be the grad student Charlie Jacob with the nice runner. Bears win 60-59 and move into sole possession of first place in the conference. Of course, the NFL's new skills competition at the Pro Bowl game came down to the last event. Peyton Manning and the AFC needing a 2-point conversion to tie up the 3-day contest, but the pass falls incomplete. 58,000 watched today as the NFC wins it 35-33. Next week at this time, it's going to be the Super Bowl. Everybody will be watching the two groups of people on the screen right now. They've arrived in Phoenix. The Kansas City Chiefs, who are on the left side of your screen, will scare off against the Eagles in Super Bowl 57. 100 million are expected to watch. Time now for the Well First Health, Frankly Speaking. So tonight we were honored to have Kelly Chase and Tony Twist in studio. And even though it looks like the Blues are not going to make the postseason, and it will be a rebuild situation, it reminded me of just how blessed we have been to have so many good people playing hockey in our town. I've always said that hockey players are the best people I've ever met in sports. I hate to generalize, but part of the reason is I think it's because so many of them are from small Canadian farm towns that they really appreciate what they have. Kelly and Tony are living examples of that. Many of these guys have come to St. Louis and never leave St. Louis, and are willing to help out a charity at all times. So we won't be hoisting that cup soon, but the Blues have given us a lot of winning and more importantly, given us a lot of great people. So that's our show for tonight. For our producer, Andy Moeller, I'm Frank Cusumano. We'll see you tomorrow night at 5, 6, and 10.
We are signing off for now, but don't forget, 5 on your side is always on 5+. Live streaming newscasts, your weather first forecast, news on demand, and so much more. Watch with our free app 5 Plus, streaming on your schedule.